Most games have their lifespan. A few years of gameplay before being tossed aside for the next shiny AAA release. But every once in a while, a game comes along that challenges that theory. A game which, despite being nearly 2 decades old, still has not just an active, but a thriving community, pushing its boundaries every single day. Now, it doesn't take a genius, especially if you've watched my channel before, to figure out which game I want to talk about today. But for those of you who are new here, first off, hi and welcome, make sure you're subscribed, but the game I'm talking about is one that shaped sibling rivalries in over 37 million homes worldwide. A racing game I personally have been playing for over half my life, with so much hidden depth that it continues to draw in new players over 17 years after its initial release. That game, if you somehow didn't read the title, is Mario Kart Wii. But why? Why does Mario Kart Wii refuse to die? Even after Nintendo themselves literally pulled the plug over a decade ago. I would be remiss to dissect the intricacies of the current state of Mario Kart Wii without first taking you back to its roots. To 2008 and a console which was born in an era of localized gameplay. Predecessor consoles forced you to be physically wired to your opponent to play together, and even when they didn't, their online play was limited. But with the wild success of the Wii console, Mario and his pals were suddenly launched into everyone's homes. And not only does the game boast a great local split screen experience where up to 4 players can share the same screen at once, but the console made use of perhaps Nintendo's most influential software, Nintendo WFC. Suddenly you weren't just competing against your little brother or your neighbour, you were racing against someone in Japan, in Europe, in the US, all at once. All that mattered because from day one, Mario Kart Wii had a global stage. From the moment you press play, Mario Kart Wii offered multiple ways to play both on and offline. Locally, you had the classics, 16 base tracks across 4 Grand Prix with a multitude of designs, each with unique gameplay and fun around every turn. These drew people into time trials where you can race your own ghosts, improve your times and even beat Nintendo's own staff ghosts to unlock additional characters and vehicles. Playing Grand Prix mode would also unlock an additional 16 tracks, bringing the total up to 32 in the game. But it's not just racing. Battle mode got ported over from Mario Kart DS, and the classic balloon battle and coin runner challenges from that game are now available across 10 interactive arenas to play with your friends. But crucially, all of this was accessible. You didn't need a complicated high-end PC or expensive peripherals. The game was pick up and play. But beneath that surface level simplicity hid a level of depth that would define and expand the community for decades. Just when you thought you'd mastered the game's tracks, unlocked every character and vehicle, beat your family around every course, you notice a panel which calls to you like a siren to passing ships. Online play. Because Mario Kart Wii was never just a local party game. The sheer variety of offline options and jaw-dropping track design gave early players and families reason to keep coming back. But what would keep the community so strong to this very day would ultimately be born right here. One of this game's most overlooked strengths was its approach to controllers. You could play with a Wii Wheel, a Nunchuck and Wii Remote, a classic controller, even a GameCube controller. Each one worked with equal entry-level capability, giving every player that touched the game a control scheme that they could find comfortable. Over time, players would come to discover the tiny advantages and disadvantages of each control scheme. The Wii Wheel, for example, gives you a higher range of circular inputs, which makes performing tricks like this Mushroom Gorge glitch a lot easier. Using the control stick to move on the Wii Nunchuck, Classic or GCN controllers, however, allowed for much more accurate movement overall, and paired with the precision of D-pad inputs, many high-level players now opt out of using the famous Wii Wheel in favour of consistency, tighter execution and advanced mechanics. But regardless of which controller you opted for, there is no denying that motion controls helped cement Mario Kart Wii as a top-tier gaming experience, putting players in the driving seat and connecting them directly to the action now more than ever before. As the game grew all those years ago, so too did its presence online. Early YouTube was filled with Mario Kart Wii montages, tutorials and highlight reels because, well, this game's chaotic nature, online lag and general jankiness created some truly one-of-a-kind clips. I could honestly do a 6-hour video on each aspect I just listed, but for now I'll gloss over that and move on to a niche but explosive area of early Mario Kart Wii content, when players pushed the game beyond what the developers ever intended. Through exploits such as Homebrew and Gecko, players were able to develop codes which gave them an unfair advantage online. Most of the time it was innocent fun, and if you were around in these days of online, there is a high chance that you experienced a lobby like this at least once. This might be a sweet nostalgia trip for so many people watching, but actually, it's paving the way for modifying the game in a way that would go on to lead us to where we are today. One notorious hacker who was born in the chaos of pre-race item spam was Mr. Bean 35000 VR. He, along with his sibling Chadders, are perhaps the reason Mario Kart Wii is where we are now. Let me explain. Mr. Bean and Chadders were the pioneers of breaking Mario Kart Wii's code and creating not just Gecko codes, but custom courses and tools like SZS Modifier which would allow others to do the same. Early custom tracks were loaded individually into the game, but that made them inaccessible to most, and these two realised that. As early into the game's life as 2010, Custom Track Grand Prix, or CTGP, was born, allowing Mario Kart Wii players for the first time to load one pack and play on 28 custom player-made courses. CTGP was not just about adding new tracks though. Sure, it may have begun that way, but between October 2010 and October 2011, these two titans of innovation would work tirelessly to develop the first full release of what would become the must-have software for top-level Mario Kart Wii today. Custom Track Grand Prix Revolution. ctgp-r quite literally changed the game. It cannot be understated the impact that Mr. Bean, Chadders and specifically the ctgp-r channel has had on the community. With the built-in anti-cheat prevention and detection, there has been an accurate, automatic leaderboard maintained for time trials, which is just phenomenal. In many ways, it even surpasses the old Mario Kart Wii channel leaderboards and what used to be an abundance of hack times dominating the top positions. Older game leaderboards, even within the same franchise, are forced to exist on a few scattered websites, which fragments the community in a way that we are so fortunate to have largely avoided. All this is to say that CTGP has held the ability to maintain a living, breathing time trial scene with accuracy and fairness that even Nintendo have never been able to match. But it wasn't just tracks or time trial leaderboards that positioned CTGP to be the powerhouse that it is today. The software also gave rise to custom game modes. One of the most notable was Countdown, which was released in May 2014 and is still playable today. Instead of racing for laps, players compete against the clock, and hitting other opponents grants you extra time, flipping the game's entire formula on its head. These experiments into new game modes didn't just keep the game fresh. They proved the community wasn't satisfied with just preserving the game. They wanted it to evolve. But while May 2014 brought one of the most exciting game modes of that era, it also brought some, at the time, pretty somber news. May 20th, 2014. Nintendo shut down its Wi-Fi connection service for the DS and Wii consoles, cutting off online play for hundreds of games, including, of course, Mario Kart Wii. For many games, this would have been the end. the company pulled the plug on a game and doomed its player base to dwindle until it was nothing but a childhood memory. But not here, because upon hearing the news that official Nintendo WFC was going to be shut down, the community had a plan.
Hello everyone, Mr. Bean 35000 VR here, and today I'm going to be showing you how you can play Wii games online after the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection shut down, using a service which was developed by Wii and Laserata.
A fan-made replacement called WiiMfi. WiiMfi went live on May 10th, 2014, and because of the 10-day connection overlap between the official and unofficial servers, the game never saw a day where online play wasn't possible. And with ctgp switching to WiiMfi as well, and it already being installed on the majority of the player base's consoles, the online scene remained largely unchanged. In fact, if anything, due to the built-in anti-cheat, online became more playable casually. In many ways, this moment cemented the identity of the Mario Kart Wii scene. Self-reliant, resilient, determined. That's not to say it was all smooth sailing. Like any passionate group, Mario Kart Wii's community has had its share of rocky history. Drama over teams, cheated leaderboard times, and players abusing trust in more ways than one. At times these threatened to fracture the scene in half, but in every case, the community bounced back stronger than ever, and those struggles shaped the culture that still persists today. Even through the release of other titles in the Mario Kart series, the Wii game stood tall. Yes, there's been a dip in players as people moved on to the latest title, but then we have seen the same pattern arise over and over again. Let's take Mario Kart World as an example. Veteran players of Mario Kart Wii leave to enjoy the new game, and then after a few months, largely start returning to play Mario Kart Wii again, because of its cemented competitive culture, skill curve of learnable tech, and replayability. As with any game, an online scene has formed which nowadays is mainly organised in Discord and streamed to Twitch. What began many years ago as like-minded players linking up on Skype to play for fun has transformed into a highly organised competitive scene. Grand Star Cup, or GSC, sees teams of players pitted against one another across a range of divisions, and any GSC match, but especially high division GSC finals, often reach hundreds of concurrent viewers, even after the release of the biggest Mario Kart game to come out to date. For those who prefer to grind competitive matches alone, the lounge system exists, where players earn and lose points across ranked matches. What's especially great is that there are both regular track and custom track competitive formats, so players truly can progress in whichever way they are inclined. In fact, after 14 full lounge seasons, the 15th is scheduled to kick off on September 29th. And hey, if you want to actually see this community in action, I'll be streaming to my Twitch every day to rank up as far as I possibly can from September 29th. And if you can't make it live, the matches will be waiting on my second channel. See you there. For such an old game, Mario Kart Wii has truly become more accessible than ever. Today, you don't even need an SD card or complicated mods to join in. Services like Retro Rewind make it possible to connect with nothing more than a computer and an internet connection. Custom tracks are released constantly, but on a very basic level, all it takes to play online is a quick change to your DNS settings on your Wii console. Being a part of this community since before the shutdown, I'm proud to see it still going strong, and cannot emphasise the fun I continue to have every single time I hop on and play. 17 years after its release, Mario Kart Wii isn't just surviving, it's thriving, with new players constantly keeping the player base fresh, not despite Nintendo abandoning it, but because the community never gave up. So why does Mario Kart Wii Online still exist, when so many other communities simply fade away? I truly don't think it's just nostalgia. With many players in the Mario Kart Wii scene being younger than the game itself, it simply can't be. Sure, nostalgia is a factor, and it always will be, But in an era where companies are modernising everything and opting for simpler, safer games, there's an inherent joy to a game that's broken, and has been for years. One with an active competitive scene, and a choice in how you get to play. The simple answer to me: ownership. The players own this game now. They built the servers, they built the tournaments, they built the infrastructure. When Nintendo walked away in 2014, the community said, fine, we'll do it ourselves. And that's rare. Most games disappear when official support ends because the players rely on the developers. But Mario Kart Wii broke free from that cycle by having a passionate, talented community who refuse to let go of a game they consider timeless. Its abundance of glitches, skill curve of gameplay, constant strategic developments and active competitive scene have led to it maintaining its foothold as one of the most enjoyable retro gaming communities to be a part of. But let's not forget, it's also just a Mario Kart game, which gives it a unique ability to produce moments like no other.
No, it doesn't make it. Oh my god! Oh my god!
That's why MKWii is more than just a game. It's proof that when players take ownership, a 2008 racer can transcend its era. And even now, years on from when even Nintendo moved on, anyone can still pick up a controller, join the races, and play their role in Mario Kart Wii. A community that refuses to die. So what do you think? Is there a reason I didn't cover in this video which made this beloved game so strong? Or are you someone who still plays on Wii and Fire yourself? Drop your story in the comments below because I would love to read them. And if this video has you interested in wanting to try out Mario Kart Wii yourself, then I'll also leave some resources down below in the description to get you started. Thank you for watching.